I'll be honest with y'all though. I've stopped getting mad at white people who just call the cops on black people for no reason. I've stopped getting upset. I've started just retaliating. I just like, now if I see a white person doing anything I don't like or understand, which is none of my business but makes me uncomfortable, I just dial those 3 numbers. You know? Well, I'll just be sitting in the park and just like, yeah, 911. She kissing the dog way too hard. This is absolutely unacceptable. This is all tongue out here. You need to hurry. It doesn't look like the dog into it. Please get here quickly. I'll be at the grocery store. I'll be checking out at the grocery store. And there'll be like a white guy in front of me. But he's not buying any food from the grocery store. He getting those weird non-food items that the grocery store sells. So it'll just be like a belt and a knife. I'm like, yeah, 911, please. He looked like Dama to begin with. Please hurry. I don't like the way his receipt looks. I've started just calling the cops all white people who I think are calling the cops all me. We just have a standoff. I'm like, well, I didn't dial first. She did, okay? Well, send one for her, send one for me, okay? They could just have a standoff. This might be too niche, but did y'all see the drama happening with the people that the movie The Blind Side is based off of? All right, if you don't know the story, I'll bring up to speed as quickly as possible. Basically, The Blind Side is a movie from 2009 where Sandra Bullock won the Oscar for playing the greatest white woman that's ever lived. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it goes Joan of Arc, Amelia Earhart, this lady, okay? And in the movie, she drives up her car to what I can only describe as the biggest black child that's ever been, all right? He is supposed to be in school, but he looked like a 43rd grader. This is the grownest looking kid I've ever seen in my life. She drives up and he's like, huh? But like, his shoulders got bigger when he turned. It was insane. And then she's like, come home with me, which historically, But then he comes home with them, and then they're like, you should play football, and he does, and then he makes it into the NFL because it turns out being big is a huge advantage. But now, Michael Oher, the guy that the movie is based off of, came out and said that he saw no money from the movie based on his life, and what he actually signed when he was a kid, which is when he thought they were adopting him, what he actually signed was conservatorship, so that they could get his money. I know, he thought he was getting a Disney movie, and this nigga got Britney Spears. It's absolutely horrible. And what do you do in that situation? Because it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. All the damage has been done. He may never see the money, and it's probably already been spent. You know what I mean? We can't give him his story back. We can't give him back those years he spent trusting them. I think I have a solution, though. All we gotta do is give Michael 2 free tackles. He can use them whenever he wants. I mean, the cost of the medical bills alone will be exactly the money that they stole from him. He's still a huge man. And we won't make a movie, we'll just make 2 TikToks. 1 for each tackle. And then at the end of the TikTok, you'll just be like, blindsided! I'll be brief because I know people are tired of talking about him. But it does feel weird that Trump is this indicted. Like, goddamn. I thought they get him for something. I didn't think they get him for everything. As someone who doesn't like him, I thought I was following the story pretty closely. And every time he gets indicted, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know he did that one. That's crazy. This man has 91 felony charges. That's more than most gangs. That is absolutely insane. Man, they giving Trump the full nigga treatment. This is crazy. That dude must check his hands every day to make sure they're still white. Just like, how is this happening to me? And this most recent one is the wildest, because if you aren't familiar in Fulton County, where Trump was most recently indicted, this is the first place where they said that they want to process him at the jailhouse instead of the courthouse. Because if they do it at the jailhouse, they'll have to do the fingerprint and they'll have to do the mugshot, which is what he's been avoiding this entire time, which is what lets me know that he's not a good businessman. He's not. Yo, if Trump got his mugshot taken and put that mugshot on a shirt, it would be the highest selling shirt of all time, okay? Forget Supreme. This would be the highest selling shirt in the history of people. First of all of his fans would buy it because they'd be like, look, free my dog Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of them would buy it. And then we would also buy it. We'd be like, look at this punk ass on this shirt. Look at this goofy ass on this shirt. Struggling ass on this shirt. He could be printing money, and instead he's, whatever. What a disappointment. He'd make so much money, he'd actually be a billionaire. You know what I mean? I had like a weird memory the other week of this thing happening. I thought I'd share it with you. Like my favorite person to spend time with in the entire world when I was a little kid was my grandma. And everybody knows that was blessed enough to have grandparents. Grandparents, instant daycare. Anytime your parents got to go somewhere, you're chilling with grandparents, right? So go everywhere my grandma went. We'd always have a good time. I remember when I was 8, especially my mom was working really hard and everything. And when I was 8, went everywhere that my grandma went, which meant I was going to hella funerals. Oh, my grandmama's squad was falling off. Like it was rough. It was like 2 funerals a week. I was like, how many people do you know? This is crazy. They were dropping like flies. And that was the worst part too, is that when you go to a funeral with some of the same people every time, at a certain point you start to be like, which one of y'all is next? Like, this is getting uncomfortable. I was wearing my little suit out, okay? I remember there was one funeral in particular, one of the more rhythmic funerals that we had been to. Everyone sort of had this unspoken agreement that when we were doing the sort of funeral procession of viewing the body, it was like to the music, you know? You walk up, you get 8 bars to grieve, and then you move on, you know? And I remember it was my turn, which meant it was my grandma's turn. That'd be weird if I had a turn all by myself. That'd be insane. If an 8-year-old kid walks up to a casket by themselves at a funeral, they killed that person, all right? That's just an 8-year-old walking up to be like, just checking. And so I'm about to walk up with my grandma, but as we start walking, we notice that the lady that was still up there hasn't moved. So she's either still thinking or like overcome with emotion. Something's happening, right? So we just keep walking. We don't want to stop mid-aisle, and so we walk up next to her. So now it's this lady that I don't know, my grandma, and me. And I wouldn't look this up until years later, because it gave me nightmares for a while, but I didn't really think to Google it yet. Apparently, long after the process has been done for a body to be presented at a funeral, there's still muscles, there's still nerves that can twitch, right? So as the 3 of us are standing there, the woman in the casket went. And even at 8 years old, I was like, hold it together. Hold together, stay calm. Whatever you do, stay calm. Because look, I've been going to a lot of funerals, right? But even as an 8-year-old that's going to a lot of funerals, I still haven't fully conceptualized the idea of death, but I know what it's like to ruin a party. You know what I mean? So I was like, just calm down and hold together. I'm trying to center myself. And then the woman on the other side of my grandma goes, "Wah!" And for a reason I still don't understand, my grandma turned around to the whole rest of the congregation and was like, she moved. And everybody cleared out. We all walked out together. It took so long to calm everybody down. It took so long to get people to come back inside, sit down, chill out. Because there were people outside that were like, nah, I'm not going back in there. Ain't no reason to grieve if she risen. I ain't playing with that. Y'all can do what you want, but if she up, she up. All right. In fact, she owe me a little something, so when you get in there, tell her that I want my 15 if this was just like a weekend she was playing Bernie. We get back inside, finally calmed down, finally finishing procession, viewing the body and everything. There was this one woman. I know I saw her, but I caught her because I was sitting second row and I was looking in between two people. This woman hesitant, and she was approaching the body, just, And she went, "Wake up." And even as they were lowering her at the cemetery and they threw the dirt on her, part of me was like, we don't know. We have no idea. I think the other reason that I'm scared of getting older is that, like, we only really value youth, especially in America. Other cultures don't always have this problem, and we don't really value what comes with aging. Like the wisdom that you get, or the deep level of empathy, because you've now been alive long enough to make your own mistakes and have deep regrets. And so when someone does something to you, it's easier to forgive them potentially because you know what it's like to make a mistake. All that comes with getting older. All your hard work starts paying off when you get older. Everything you do today you'll see the fruits of tomorrow, But we still are like, nah, I want to be young. I want to look young. I want to feel young. Act young, whatever. I think the main reason I'm scared of getting older is I finally had a bad fall, and it was like I really felt like an old motherfucker too. I went down, like it was terrible. I've been talking all that good shit about Joe Biden this whole time, and then I hit the ground just like him. I was like, because this is the thing, I fought the fall. Like if I had just fallen like a young man, it would have been respectable. I would have tripped, people would understand it, everything. But I fought it all the way down. At one point, I was horizontal, just grabbing stuff like non-stop, to the point where I actually pulled stuff onto me when I landed. People who didn't know me were like, ooh, I fell so hard, I didn't let anybody help me up. I needed a second to gather myself. There's a little bit more show left. I want to thank all y'all for coming out. My name is Josh Johnson. Have a great rest of the night. I appreciate you.
Oh, wow, we did it. We made it this far. It feels more normal now, but like in March, when we really thought the world was, remember March when we were like that, doctors were like, hey, you got anything on your bucket list, you might want to do that. Like that, do you remember? In March, I'm not gonna lie, I panicked, all right? I panicked and I bought an axe, all right? I don't know what I was thinking either, but I did it because I was like, maybe I might have to, I don't know, maybe society will crumble. I got to save my home. So I went to Home Depot to get my axe, all right? Apparently, a lot of other people had the idea I had because all the reasonable axes were taken, okay? My axe is far too big. All that was left was like a 4-foot, basically a tree with a blade is all that was left. And so I bring my axe home. I'm too little to even wield my own axe. Like if someone came in my house to kill me, an intruder, I would be grabbing my own axe like, look, you give me a second, okay? You give me a little space, all right? Maybe a little space of time, you're gonna be fucked up, all right? This is terrible. I bought an axe because I couldn't buy a gun. You know what I mean? I just couldn't do it. Not just because the permits in New York are incredibly difficult to get. It's just when I lived in Louisiana, there was one point where I was in a very bad neighborhood and a lot of houses were getting robbed, right? Including my own. Just lots of houses getting robbed. So I did what any good Southern boy would do, and I bought a gun, all right? So I picked the gun on Wednesday, bought the gun on Thursday, brought it home, and on Friday night, someone broke in and stole my gun, all right? They stole the thing I bought to stop people from stealing my stuff, okay? So when they come back, which they will, why not? They have my gun. When they come back, for everything they couldn't carry with a gun in one hand, they're probably gonna make me help. They're probably gonna make me help rob me, all right? I'm gonna be standing outside with my own stuff like pop the trunk. It's not gonna fit in the back seat. Pop the trunk. It will not fit in that back seat. Will you please pick up your side? It will not fit in that, because it's my TV. That's how I know it's not gonna fit. Because it's my car, okay? It didn't fit on the back seat all the way here. It's not gonna fit in the back seat when you leave. It's insanity. I've been getting tested a lot. Like a lot. I've had a lot of tests just so I can do things and go places and stuff. And, always come out negative. I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful for that. But I have been tested so much that I'm not gonna lie, my nose is starting to feel a little loose, all right? Baby boy is not tight anymore, okay? If you ask my nose, just from my nose's perspective, been on the streets doing what it had to do, all right? Doing what it had to do to get by, okay? It's a hard knock life for this nose. It's getting to the point where my nose is so open, I don't just smell things, I feel like I smell when they happened. Like, no lie, I'm starting to feel like I can smell the future. Just like the worst superhero, just walking in like, oh, we need to get out of here. This is terrible. I had one test. This is insane. I had one test where they stuck it so far up my nose, I fainted. Right, so I just passed out, and I don't know what it was. Like, it was almost like she stuck it up so far that she hit the off switch on my brain. Because then I wake up, test is still hanging out of my nose. Right, I wake up like maybe 10 seconds later, and she's gone. And then she walks back in, and I'm like, "You left me?" And she was like, "I had to go get a doctor because I thought I killed you." This has never happened before. That's why I've given up on being an alpha, Because I faint too much for a black guy. I really do. I faint a lot, and no one faints well. You know what I mean? Like, no guy has ever been standing there crossed-armed and then like tipped over. Like, I melt, you know what I mean? And I hit my head hard. Like, when I faint, I hit my head so hard that people look at me different when I wake up. Because I even had an instance where I saw my friend, he was running and he tripped and he fell, and he messed up his arm really bad. Like, it wasn't just bloody, it was like an anatomy lesson. Like, I could see through his arm. So I appropriately fainted where I stood, all right? But instead of just like tipping over, I guess my legs were too far apart, so then my knees buckled, but then they opened again under the weight of my hips. So I just sort of twerked myself down until I rested on the ground. So yeah, I faint. I be getting catcalled a lot. And this shit is terrible. Like, it is, I always knew it was bad, right? I never did it. But then, now that it's happening to me, I can see as bad as it was, like, now that it's actually happening to me. Because basically what happened is, over lockdown, I let my hair grow out, right? And apparently, from the back, I'm a bad bitch. Like, there's no way around it. It just sort of is what it is. So then, I do a thing, and I know I do this thing. It doesn't make it my fault that I'm getting catcalled, but I know I do this thing where I post up heavy with ass on one leg, right? So then I am standing there, right? And I'm just like posted up like this. Just like looking at the sky, or like people walking by, people watching, anything, right? Sometimes I'll switch it, but it's mostly the right side.
And so I'll be on my right side, and then I'll just hear a damn baby girl, and then I turn around, and then they get mad at me, like I tricked them. I wasn't doing anything. I was looking at the clouds like a God-fearing woman, all right? You're the one that came over here bothering me. My friend got a new job, and for this new job, they drug tested him. And I heard about it. I was like, really? They still do that? Like it's the 50s or something? Why are we drug testing people? What is that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you checking to make sure that I didn't have fun before I worked here? Like, all you're doing is checking that I'm not too cool to work here, you know? Plus, if you're HR and you can't just tell who's on drugs, if you need a drug test, you should be the one hiring people. You know what I mean? I could spot a crackhead a mile away, all right? He's holding a hula hoop for no reason, trying to sell rims to no car around. Yeah, maybe don't give him the interview first. See how that worked? I didn't need anybody's pee. Because, like, I have another friend that, at her job, they found a heroin needle in the break room, right? So, like, you skipped, like, you went straight to like the druggy drug, like top drugs. Like this is just drugs now, you know what I mean? So I understand everyone was freaked out, and they found it like on the table, like not even throwing away. They didn't even try to hide that they were doing heroin at work, you know? But then she told me, she was like, yeah, so we found this heroin needle in the break room and we couldn't figure out whose it was. And I was like, if you can't figure out whose heroin needle that was, that's the best person at their job, all right? They are not letting heroin affect their quality of work, okay? Either they're the best person at their job or y'all all suck. Y'all are all doing a heroin level of job at this job. You don't need to drug test anybody, you know? All you need to do is get some oil, some grease, just slick it up the floor a little bit, all right? Let everybody fall. Okay? Whoever take too long to get up is clearly on heroin. All right? Also, if they take too long to fall, if they slip like, that's a heroin fall. That's your man right there. My friends had a baby a couple months ago, and the baby's very cute, right? Adorable baby. It really is. Also, this baby has the deepest voice I've ever heard on a baby, and it is freaking me out, all right? I tickled him on his little, you know, little chubby cheek that you tickle on a baby. And so I tickled him, and this baby, no lie, looked right at me and was like, It's the only baby I've ever stopped playing peekaboo with, you know what I mean? Like, because I was like, peekaboo, I see you. You know what? I don't want to play anymore. I need to keep my eye on you. I don't trust you like that. I don't like that. The baby's also, like, long. Like, it's a long-grown baby. It's freaky. It's like, no, like, it came out fully cooked. Like, this is not a baby. This is like a geriatric toddler. Like, no baby should have a leg swinging out the crib. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big baby. I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, but I saw on Facebook that I was friends with, I don't even know how it happened. I'm friends on Facebook with my old sex ed teacher. And I don't know if he friended me, I don't know how it happened, but it is what's happening. And I thought about it, and I thought back to when he was teaching sex ed, and I was like, upon further review, as an adult, I can tell you with confidence that this man was teaching sex ed as a virgin. There is no way that he had ever done anything sexual. This man was just getting in front of us, making stuff up, just theories, just saying stuff. No one teaching sex ed should be saying, I guess, that much. You know what I mean? We need facts. I need you to know. We can't think this is how to put a condom on. We need directives. This dude told the class, straight face, told the class that some, not all, just some, women's vaginas were horizontal. That's a real thing he said, and then just kept teaching. And I was like, no, I need I have follow-up questions. It's crazy. And I don't know if everyone here is like from the states or not, but like if you are, you know that no school in America, no matter how rich or well-funded it is, has the funding for just a sex ed teacher. They always tack it on to what someone else is already doing, right? Which means they went up to the PE teacher, okay? And they're like, hey, would you like to teach sex ed at 7th period? And instead of doing the right thing and saying, look at me. Look at me. I have spaghetti stains on the back of my collar, all right? I've never felt the touch of a woman. I wear gym shorts to work. Okay? I know it looks like blood on the back of my collar. Honestly, I wish it was. That'd be a better story if I got stabbed in the back of the neck and felt so strongly about physical education that I still show up to my job. But no, I was eating some spaghetti, all right? And I kneel at the table. When I eat the spaghetti, I ate it so furiously that a noodle swung and hit me in the back of my own neck. So no, I don't know anything about sex. Instead of doing that, he just said, yeah, I'll teach it. Okay, sounds good. And then he got up in front of us and told us, whichever hand you write with, right? Whichever hand that is, whichever hand you write with, that's which one of your dad's balls you came out of. And then just moved on to something else. It's like, at least let the coolest kid in class teach it. We at least know for a fact he's seen a boob, all right? He told us all the next day. So the next time, you know, you're with a guy or something and he's terrible at sex, maybe don't put all the blame on him. Put some of the blame on his sex ed teacher who told you if you get chlamydia, you die on the 3rd day, all right?